Hey guys, what's going on? Myles here with an all-new photography video. Now in today's video, I am going to be sharing with you my real-world thoughts on the EOS R. I have been using it for about 6 months now, and I figured it was time to do a follow-up video. Now, if you have not seen my previous video on the EOS R, I will leave a link down in the description. Go check it out. I think you will like it. And let's dive in and check out this video. Alrighty guys, so starting off, what do I think of the EOS R? Well, for starters, I think the image quality of this camera is great. I mean, they grabbed the same sensor and updated it a little bit as the 5D Mark IV, so you knew the image quality was going to be just as good, or if not a little better. And Canon didn't disappoint there. I mean, my images have been super sharp, super clear, exactly what I expected to get out of this camera. Is it a huge improvement over the 5D Mark IV? No. Did I know that going in? Heck yes. Was I expecting more? No. You get what you kind of get where I'm going with this, guys. I know there's a lot of hate out there for the EOS R. Oh, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. There's not 2 card slots. All right, move past all of that into a real-world situation. It doesn't matter to me, okay? At the end of the day, I bought this camera because I wanted a mirrorless camera. I needed to get off a crop sensor what I had. I already had some Canon glass, so I didn't really want to spend a boatload of money buying all new glass for a new ecosystem. You know, and it just made sense. It was the right time, it was the right price point, and to be honest, the camera does what I need, all right? Have I sold photos with it? Yeah. Can my clients tell the difference? Probably not. I mean, they might be able to tell that my, images have gotten a little bit sharper and a little bit more high res. But for the most part, you guys got to remember that when a photographer views an image and when a client views an image, typically they cannot tell what the photographer can tell. I mean, they don't study images, they don't study, sensors and lenses and all of that. All they care is, does the photo meet their needs and does it look good, right? I have seen people sell photos that were taken on an iPhone. So that might help you out a little bit if you're like worried that, oh, this camera is not going to be good as this camera. At the end of the day, what I think is, does it suit your needs, right? Does it make sense for you to drop that type of money on this camera? Do you want to wait for a more professional style camera? Do you need 2 card slots? I mean, for me, I'm a landscape and street photographer, right? Typically, the landscapes don't move a whole lot, right? The building is going to be there tomorrow, so if I miss a shot, yeah, it's going to suck. But I can go back and take the image again another date. So for me, it's not a huge deal breaker. Now, if I was like more of a wedding photographer, I think having 2 card slots might be a little bit more important, especially because, like, if you miss some of those shots or the memory card dies, like, you're going to be up in a little bit of trouble there. But for me, like I said, it's just not something I need to worry about. Typically, I carry around multiple memory cards anyways, so like if I'm shooting for multiple days on vacation or who knows where for a client, I will switch them in and out anyways. And that would be regardless if I had 2 card slots or not. That's just a habit I've gotten into because I work in IT. I know how files get lost. Just something I do. So again, does that matter to you? Does it not? Something you need to think about. Now, some other things I think about this camera, I love the fact that I can remap pretty much every button. I do not know how many times I have moved the buttons around now, but at this point, it's probably at least 100. I love mapping the buttons on this camera. I've changed it all around. I made it so it's easy accessible to go from like a single shot to burst shots. What else have I changed on it? Oh man, I've changed just everything about it. I mean, the buttons are completely remapped. Do I think that's a cool feature? Absolutely. Why? Because there's certain features on cameras that I just do not use. And I think that's one thing you got to keep in mind too when you're buying a camera is, camera companies love to, add on all these features to these new cameras, but are you really going to take advantage of these, right? Some people will say yes, some people will say no. To me, it's nice having all these features, but do I really use them? I don't know. For example, this one has silent shooting, and now they put an update out so you can do silent shooting and burst. That's great. I personally don't like silent shooting, and here's why. I don't know when the camera triggered, right? Because I don't look at my images. I don't have a playback, right? I just keep snapping the photo. And for me, silent shooting doesn't make sense because I don't know if the photo ever got taken, right? So I still like to hear the click. Now, have I used silent shooting? Yeah, you bet you. It's on the camera. I wanted to try it out. I still use it. It's nice, especially if it's in a quieter setting. If somebody's giving a speech or something, you don't want to hear click, 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 click. But is it something that's worth the extra money? You be the judge over that. I mean, for me, no. I can do without silent shooting. I can do with silent shooting. It's not a huge selling point for me. Some other things is I love the fact that I can move, my focusing point all over the place. I mean, there's so many focusing points on this camera. But again, I find myself not utilizing all of them. And that's just because you don't, right? Your subject's typically in the rule of thirds or in the center. And typically that any camera I pick up is going to be able to hit those focusing points. Now, yes, it is awesome that I can shoot my focus all the way to the right or all the way to the left and really dial it in. But at the end of the day, I could do that on a cheaper camera or a more expensive camera in the past, just the same. So that wasn't a huge selling point for me either. The 4K footage, I shoot footage on a 70D right now in 1080p, what works fine. I've used 4K footage. I love 4K, but I edit on a MacBook Pro behind me. And if you've ever edited 4K footage, you know it needs a lot of power. And even a top-of-the-line MacBook Pro is cutting it when you want to start editing with 4K. I mean, your file sizes are huge. I don't have a lot of storage, and I'd rather use it for other things like my photos rather than just one 4K video. Editing it, rendering it, everything like that is just very time-consuming and hard when you start shooting in 4K. Yeah, the videos look absolutely amazing, and if I was doing it for a client, you betcha. The crop factor, again, doesn't really matter to me because I'm shooting in 1080 most of the time. Yeah, I mean, if you really want to shoot in 4K, go check out the Sonys. They do a great job, right? I'm not partial to one brand or another. I like Canon, but that's because I already had Canon, so it didn't make sense for me to go drop a boatload of money on all new gear and lenses. And that's one other thing you need to keep in mind, too, is right now Canon put out, I think, 5 lenses for the EOS R, and only one of them is under $1,000. And on average, I'd say most of them are around $2,000 to $3,000 for a lens. That is a lot of money just to get Canon's new glass. And I think Canon's releasing some new ones here in July and August of 2019. I'm super excited because I'm looking forward to the new 70 to 200 and the 24 to 70 or 28 to 70. I can't remember which it is at this moment. Those will be 2 lenses that I'm going to be focusing heavily on picking up. I think they'll go super well in my kit, but at the same time, that's like $5,000 worth of lenses. Yeah, I don't think this camera body really justifies $5,000 worth of lenses, and I think most people picking this up aren't going to want to spend that type of money just for a new RF mount. Now, Canon was nice. They did give you the mounting adapter. I have it. It works great. No complaints. But it is a pain in the freaking butt to use because if you start switching off lenses, going from, the old school to the new RF mounts and just switching it around, I mean, half the time it winds up in my bag on a lens and I can't find it when I need to switch. So that can be kind of a pain. At some point, yeah, I'll probably just switch to all RF lenses. Yeah, that's a lot of money. For what I do, I think it's okay. I personally only want 3 lenses in my bag. That's a wide angle, 28 to 70 or 24, I can't remember which it is, and the 70 to 200. Personally, I can make most of images I need with those 3 lenses. I might think of a macro or one. I don't even know if I'd do one. I was going to say I might do one. It's not coming to me right now. What do I want to say? Oh, anyways, I was going to do maybe like an 85 millimeter is where I was going with that. But for the type of photography I do, I don't use those lenses a whole lot. I have some. They're nice. They're fun to play with, and they're great for like portraits and stuff. But again, that's not who I focus on. I do a lot more product photography. I do a lot of photography of buildings for people, clients. I focus more on web. So what I mean by that is like I'll take photos for like banners of websites and images on their website, right? And that's just the type of photography I like to do. I'm good at it. That's something I grew up doing, so it's easy for me. Where portrait photography, I can do it. I have done it. I'll continue to do it, but it's not something I want to focus on. It's not, to me, it's just not something I like to take photos of. It's nothing wrong with taking photos of models and stuff like that, but for me, that's not what I do. So yes, the EOS R works great for that. Like I said, no complaints. It's a great camera. I think you should definitely pick one up and try it if you're thinking about it. Will there be a better camera on the market? You betcha. Canon already announced that they're going to be coming out with one maybe this year or next. Will I pick it up? We'll see at the time. I mean, personally, for what I need a camera for, the EOS R does a great job. These videos and everything like that. I mean, I can talk about photography all day long. I can tell you, yeah, go buy the most expensive camera, but also something I teach is telling people like, hey, you don't need the best of the best, right? Use whatever you have, practice your techniques, learn your skills, and take great photos. I think you can do that on a cheaper, like an EOS R or even the RP that's out. I think if you're truly getting into photography and you really want to start making these like style of videos and photos that I talk about, I think you can do it with a cheaper camera. So yeah, something to keep in mind. Alrighty guys, so there you have it. There is my thoughts on the EOS R. Now remember, if you like these videos and you want to see more, smash that subscribe button down below, and I will be catching you guys in the next video. Alrighty guys, peace!